I'm Emily Evans. I'm from the National Renewable Energy Lab. I work on the eRobot Prize Administration team. We are so excited to have you here today for the teaming event. We're excited about the prize and just to echo Shana, thank you everyone for joining and taking the time out of your day. And also a huge thank you to the New Lab team for hosting the event. I'm going to take a few minutes today to talk about the American Made Challenges program, the eRobot Prize, and why teaming is so important. If you have any questions about the prize or the event, please drop them into the chat box and I or my team will answer them. And with that, we'll get started. First, we'll cover a brief overview of the American Made Challenges and the American Made Network. The American Made Challenges program was developed to help energize American ingenuity and empower innovators to create groundbreaking energy solutions and turn ideas into reality in a matter of months instead of years. The American Made Challenges program achieves this goal by connecting teams with knowledge, resource, and access to experts in their field to rapidly transform ideas into prototypes and beyond. The American Made Challenges runs a variety of programs. eRobot is one. We have ones with solar technology, hydropower, geothermal, additive manufacturing, and many more. If you're interested in learning more about the program and the prizes we run, I would encourage you to visit our website, americanmadechallenges.org. A partner program to the American Made Challenges is the American Made Network, which is growing and getting stronger every day. We currently have more than 130 network partners representing 31 states, and connectors join the network to be at the forefront of innovation and help our teams with business planning, prototyping, market validation, and much, much more. We are always on the lookout for new connectors to join our network. So if you are in the audience and you're interested in helping teams succeed on the eRobot Prize or another AMC challenge, we'd love to have you join. Just go to our website and follow the links to connect with us. Now, for the reason why we're all here today, the eRobot Prize, we're going to do a quick prize overview, but before we dive in, we'll start with a video that explains the how and why of the prize.
Affordable, comfortable, environmentally friendly, and superior energy performance. That is the future of buildings. Buildings are the largest sector of the U.S. energy economy, with more than 126 million buildings spanning the United States. They use 74% of our nation's electricity, account for 39% of total energy use, and 35% of CO2 emissions from energy consumption, more than any other sector in America. In terms of energy and climate, buildings present a big challenge. Fortunately, necessity is the mother of invention, and new innovations hold promise for cutting costs and preserving our planet. Available retrofit technologies and approaches could significantly cut an average building's energy use, but only a small portion of existing buildings undergo envelope retrofits. Increasing our envelope retrofit rates and reducing energy use in the existing building stock by just 20% could save up to $80 billion per year in energy bills. But many obstacles stand in the way of these upgrades. For one, today's envelope retrofit products and processes are not only disruptive to homeowners and building occupants, they can also create health and safety hazards for construction workers who frequently need to access tight spaces. So, how do we deliver envelope improvements with less pain and more gain? Enter the American Made Buildings Prize called eRobot. Launched by the Department of Energy's Building Technologies Office, the eRobot Prize calls on innovators to use robotics to develop minimally invasive, low-cost, and holistic building envelope retrofit solutions. We're counting on you to make retrofits safer, faster, more convenient, and more reliable. This two-phased program provides a total of $5 million in cash prizes and support to competing teams and network partners for solutions that create greater job opportunities, improve safety and efficiency for workers, and reduce building retrofit costs. Have an idea? Join the American Made Buildings Prize eRobot today.
Oh man, I never get tired of that music. I love it. So as the video noted, the eRobot Prize is a $5 million two-phase competition which seeks to catalyze the development of building envelope retrofit solutions that make retrofits easier, faster, safer, and more accessible for workers. The prize is supported by the Connectors and the American Made Network, which, if you remember, are those organizations that have raised their hand and said, yes, I want to support competitors in the eRobot Prize and other prizes and to provide direct assistance to teams. So the eRobot Prize is a two-phase contest. In phase one, teams are expected to present an innovative idea that solves a known industry problem for building envelope retrofits. This phase is focused on proving that the solution solves that critical building envelope need, developing a concept and design, and importantly, forming a team that is capable of achieving success. It is expected that experts from both robotics and building industries are informing the concept and design. You're going to hear us say it time and time again, but teaming and partnerships are critical to both phase one and phase two, which is why we're so happy that you're here today. Up to 10 phase one winners will win $200,000 in non-dilutive, no strings attached cash prizes, and will then be eligible to compete in phase two. In phase two, we're going to bring teaming and partnerships to the next level. And we ask that winning competitors from phase one take individual components and add required functionality to create a holistic and turnkey integrated product. Cooperation between competitors is encouraged. Even if you don't win phase one, you can still partner with the phase two team to submit a cohesive solution. Up to 4 winners will win $500,000 in cash prizes. You are currently competing in phase one, which began November of 2020 and will conclude in May of 2021 with the submission deadline. Both phase one and phase two will last about 6 months. Connectors are eligible to win cash prizes, just like teams, for helping to recruit and also support phase one and phase two competition teams. If you are a team submitting a phase one application and have worked with an American Made connector, please do not forget to list them in your application. Connectors must be included on the phase one submission form and be an approved American Made Network connector by May 12th to be eligible for award. Now let's talk a bit about why we're here today and the goals for the event. As you're working through your phase one submission, you might be wondering where you should focus your efforts and how to craft a compelling phase one submission. Successful eRobot teams will develop solutions that are holistic, low cost, minimally invasive. Next slide, please. Utilize long-lasting materials, complete time-efficient, high-quality installations, and provide opportunities to workers. Ultimate success in the eRobot Prize will be developing technology and products that are responsive to these key areas. With the technology goals in mind, we've put together a couple of helpful phase one submission tips. First, identify your solution. Identify how your solution addresses each of the technology goals. Don't make expert reviewers hunt for these connections in the answers. Make it easy and obvious that your technology addresses each of these goals. Understand the risks and articulate mitigation strategies. Clearly explain how your solution works. Show it with clear graphics, pictures, specs. Identify potential customer segments and estimate the market potential for your solution. Explain how you will develop a holistic solution in phase two. Highlight your team's expertise and partnerships that you need and or have to commercialize and scale your solution. You can see on the scoring criteria over to the right that teaming and partnership is a full 25% of your overall score. So definitely don't ignore it and take it seriously. Consider an advisory board and obtain letters of support, also a part of teaming and partnership. And we're going to say this time and time again, but teaming and partnering is important in phase one, but it is absolutely essential in phase two. We're looking for solutions that are supported by holistic, multidisciplinary teams, which include stakeholders such that are listed on the slide here. So our collective goal for the event today is to connect phase one teams with new team members, stakeholders, connectors, and others to provide technical and market insight, marketing expertise, product validation, and other support needed to successfully commercialize and scale your solution. As we go into the networking breakouts, be thinking about your solution and your expertise and how you can create or add to a holistic partnering approach to support phase one solutions. If you're just hearing about this contest for the first time, please sign up as a phase one competitor if you are interested and read the rules at herox.com/erobot. Phase one submissions are due on May 12th by 5 p.m. Please, please, please do not wait till the last minute to submit your application. 5 p.m. is a very firm deadline and the submission form closes exactly at 5 p.m. If you have any questions about the prize, please reach out to us at erobot.prize@nrel.gov. Finally, I invite you to join our upcoming eRobot Office Hours event hosted by Nation of Makers on April 21st for help with any last minute questions and to receive one-on-one application support directly from the experts. And with that, I want to thank you all for being here one last time, and I'll hand things over to Shayna. Shayna?
Thanks, Emily. And we'll be sharing that information again at the end of the session in case you didn't get a chance to click on the office hours link or kind of do a little Google search on the side. All right, so next up, I'm going to invite Mary Hubbard from the Department of Energy to lead a panel discussion with a really great group that we have. So we have Diana Fissler from ADL Ventures. We have Dustin Roberts. She wears many hats, but today she's kind of representing her experience at the University of Pennsylvania. And then we have James Clark, who's from a New Lab member company, actually. We might be a little bit biased, but they're doing really exciting work. The company is called Manifold Robotics. So Mary, I'll pass it to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Shayna. And thanks everyone for joining us today. I know you all are really here for our breakouts. So I promise we're going to keep this brief, and this is going to be a little bit of a lightning round style panel as a result. But we did want to start to set the stage, provide some different perspectives about how we might be able to approach this larger challenge. So I'm really excited to talk with Diana, Dustin, and James today, and hopefully you'll get some great ideas or thoughts out of this conversation. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get us started, and I'm actually going to pitch my first question over to Dustin. So Dustin, one of the challenges for the eRobot Prize is the need to work across disciplines and areas of expertise. That's why we're here today. This will be absolutely key to building holistic solutions. Can you speak about the value of bringing people from different disciplines together around a specific challenge? And what's your advice for fostering collaboration or building a cross-disciplinary team?
Thank you, Mary. And yes, like Shayna said, I'm from University of Pennsylvania. I'm in the mechanical engineering department, and it's literally required that I teach students how to work across interdisciplinary teams. So although I don't think most of you are in college right now, I think the lessons still apply. So basically, my first piece of advice is just to be humble. I think as a lot of times as engineers and leaders in any field, you kind of have a bravado and feel like you know everything, and it's interesting in a different situation to go into collaborating with new people from new fields and being maybe less open initially to understanding that they have expertise that you don't even know exists. So when I think of kind of all buckets of knowledge, you have like things you know you don't know, and things you don't know you don't know. So be open to understanding that that slice of the pie of knowledge is very large.
Excellent. Thank you, Dustin. Really important to be considering that. Hopefully that's why all of us are here today. Okay, my next question is coming to Diana. So Diana, some teams submitting for the eRobot Prize may be using the opportunity to commercialize the technologies they've actually already built in the lab. How would you advise these early stage teams who are looking to apply a system or a technology they've developed to a new problem space or customer? And also, what advice do you have for someone trying to educate themselves about building retrofit use cases? Any recommendations or resources you'd like to share for them to learn more about that?
Sure. Thank you, Mary. I just want to point out that ADL is a power connector as well. And so we're here to answer questions. Feel free to reach out to us, whether you're a connector or an applicant. So the first thing when you're thinking about how to commercialize your technology, it's really important to learn the market that you hope to enter. And there's a trick to that, which is to listen to the potential customers in that market. Rather than going in and being in love with your solution, find out what causes your potential customers pain and whether your solution solves that pain. And the other priority I would recommend is to look at what the existing solutions are in the space, both the big incumbent solutions and also your competitors that are startups. How are they trying to enter the market? And that should give you an idea of what value your solution is bringing that's clearer and different and more compelling to the eventual customer. And then on the second part, Mary, the advice on how to learn about the space, DOE and RMI both have some great reports on building retrofits of all different types. RMI really delves into deep energy retrofits. So if you go to their website, you can see resources on the Realize program. And the DOE has a report on opportunities for the opaque building envelope, and we can link you those things in the chat.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you, Diana. Okay, James, we're coming your way as an experienced innovator, having worked with New Lab. We're really interested in your perspective on all this. So in that vein, could you briefly describe the work that you do and the specific technologies you're developing? We all know that robotics can be platform level technologies with a broad set of application areas. So how did you identify the specific use case or market that you have been pursuing?
Thank you. And I'll just make a quick intro. We're a very early stage company at New Lab. We're all but a 3-person team. I'm doing the business development. And I think Diana and Dustin's answers were great in that, a lot of things are super cross discipline, as well as you have to listen to the market of what you're trying to serve and the product you're bringing. Now the product that we're introducing drones into the power utility space to enable them to better inspect particularly transmission and distribution lines. And we think there's a lot of opportunity in this, but it kind of comes down to where's the problem with inspection of this infrastructure. So drones are already well implemented into this process. So when we had the technology, the market was already pretty clear in drones and doing power inspection. But the challenge has become identifying the submarkets, and with that, it comes to figuring out, how exactly your technology serves people that need it most. So really nailing down that is the most difficult part of the process. And we're lucky. We're working with utilities and other inspection companies to help us figure this out, as well as doing a lot of outreach to customers to achieve that. So I hope that answers the question.
Excellent. Thank you, James. Okay, we're going to circle back to Dustin for one more question here. And this is actually a key aspect to our eRobot Prize objectives, which is just to say that, it's been said that building robotic systems support jobs that are dirty, dark, and dangerous, right? And being able to address that would help everyone. So what are some use cases where robotics are meaningfully extending human capability or creating safer work environments? And are there industry examples that could point to this potential?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is if you've ever seen Iron Man or a lot of different other sci-fi movies, we have like these super suits, right, that like make us fly and move fast and jump high and extra strong. Well, we're not quite at Iron Man level right now, exoskeletons are becoming an actually commercially viable technology now that started out as a very kind of like niche product that was addressing needs of mostly people with spinal cord injuries. So through research and development, and then it became something that you can now buy and and R&D is continuing on making it such that first responders, firefighters, search and rescue teams, etc., can have these augmented kind of exoskeletons to use to increase their strength or maintain their stamina so they don't have to use as much of their own strength over a longer period of time. So it's one little example of dirty, dark, or dangerous that we can just kind of co-work with robots and make our lives a little bit easier.
Excellent. Great example. Can't wait for that to be more thoroughly throughout our society. That'd be very cool. Okay, Diana, coming back to you now. So the eRobot Prize is aimed at catalyzing the development of minimally invasive, low cost, and holistic building envelope retrofit solutions. This is all in the effort of making retrofits easier, faster, safer, and more accessible for workers. So based on sustainably focused projects that ADL has worked on with energy companies, what do you see as the greatest barriers to adoption? And are there specific organizations or companies that are heavily focused on retrofitting that would be relevant for teams to learn about?
Yeah, so in getting the solution to be implemented, what we often see is that scaling up can be difficult. Things that work in a laboratory scale or prototype scale need to be made economical at scale, and that can make or break a technology being implemented. So paying attention to maybe not necessary to have detail around it, but understanding how eventually things will be manufactured and distributed in the space is really important. And of course, in the building space, code compliance is always a consideration. So being aware of what those eventual requirements are is going to be important. And back to organizations, I'm going to recommend RMI again. They're one of the finest resources on deep energy retrofits in the building envelope. And something we recently saw that's quite educational is a company called Qbot that's doing crawl space insulation. And that's interesting to study as well, to understand what could work in this space and what cannot.
Yeah, just a quick note on Qbot. They are up and running in the UK and in Europe, right? But that technology has not been brought to the US today. So we would love to kind of bridge that pond and bring that stuff over here. That's absolutely one of the key reasons why we've stood up this prize and focusing in on the US market. Thank you. Okay, last question for James. So safety and opportunities to support the workforce conducting building envelope retrofits is absolutely top of mind for this eRobot Prize. In the context of your company, how do you think about the potential for robots to extend or augment human capability? What does human-machine interaction look like for the systems you build? And how does your product fit into the workflow or specific worker environments where it's designed to operate?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It's a really exciting thing to talk about for us because with the drones that we are deploying for inspection, we really do see them as extensions of what the humans are capable of doing, just like what Justin said. So drones, how they really become a tool for inspection is that they can access areas much more quickly. They can access more areas than humans would normally have a difficult time getting to, and therefore they can reveal a lot more data, and they can get a lot more coverage over less time. But that being said, it's very important for the humans to be to manage the operation. In other words, they're a very vital part of the inspection process. Because if you don't have any correct oversight or anyone to manage the process or plan before, during, and after, the inspection process with drones could be potentially a mess. So we really do see both of them as being extremely important.
Absolutely. Can't have one without the other. It is absolutely an interlinked relationship. Okay, so that's going to end our portion of formal panel, and would like to start to open it up to questions that some of our audience might have. So hopefully, if you do have any questions for any of the panelists or myself, please start to put them in the chat, and we will start to take a look over there. We've got a few more minutes that we have reserved for this panel, so happy to take questions at this time. Right after this segment, we are going to switch into our breakout groups. So, and unfortunately, not all of our panelists will be able to stay. So now is your time. If you would like to ask any of our 3 expert panelists some questions, let's do it.
Mary, I'm gonna go back, scroll up a little. Diana and Dustin, I'm impressed you guys are fast on the response here, but just for everybody's benefit, a question came in that I think would be worth having a bit of a dialogue about. Bill asked, how do I find the folks experiencing this pain point, right? So he's got some ideas, but he's not an expert in retrofitting buildings. So great if we can kind of think about the best principles for customer discovery, but where do you suggest somebody kind of starts that journey? How do they maybe get in touch with those people or read secondary research, or just what's your kind of best advice for getting immersed in this topic, which may not be familiar to everybody working in these different tech areas?
I'm going to jump in since I answered it in the chat, but then I'm going to throw it over to Dustin as well. This is a tough one, right? Because there aren't that many, there isn't a huge infrastructure of people already doing retrofit. But, starting with market reports and DOE reports to understand the value chain, but then it's really important to understand who's going to write the check or sign the contract or something like that. And then identifying the role of that person, who's the decision maker at a given organization, is really critical. And then after that, it's really just about network until you find the customer who's willing to tell you what hurts them, what keeps them awake at night. And Dustin, I think you have some good insight into this customer discovery process as well, right?
Yeah, I think Diana's much more integrated into this particular ecosystem than I am. But yeah, in general, one of the kind of cliche sayings that Steve Blank uses is "get out of the building," which is kind of ironic in this case. But yeah, the idea is that you can have the greatest technological advancement in the world, but unless you can actually meet an unmet need and have this like product market fit between your stuff, no one's going to necessarily care. You're not going to necessarily have the market you think you do, et cetera, et cetera. So there's not an easy answer to that because it takes a lot of legwork. There's a program my startup was in funded by the National Science Foundation that gave us $50,000, and we're like, cool, we can build stuff. And they're like, no, this is for interviews. You have to just talk to people, 100 people in 6 weeks. Phone calls don't count, it has to be face to face. And it was grueling, but we learned a ton. So yeah, no easy answer, but it's a lot of legwork.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. And I'll just kind of tag on to that. Great thoughts, both Dustin and Diana. If you're not sure where to start, say you are kind of relatively new to buildings, maybe relatively new to retrofits, haven't even necessarily thought about how you would, put insulation into your attic, right? I'll just kind of give you a quick tip here, and it's different for different areas of the country. So I would highly recommend you kind of look to where you live now and how this might be done today. In some cases, a lot of this starts with an energy audit at a house, right? You hire a company to come in and you do an audit of your home, and they identify a number of what are called energy conservation measures, ways that you can save energy in your home. Many of these companies then either recommend or partner or do it themselves and offer to do the ECM, the measure, installation themselves. So, again, depending on where you are, you can think about it that way and start kind of doing your own customer discovery about how is this process done. And I'll just give you a quick, jump to the end. It's not easy. It is not easy today if you want to improve your existing building envelope. So that's part of the situation that we'd like to help address as part of this prize. Okay, I'm sure we've gotten
Yes.
other questions. We have a few more minutes here. What else?
Yeah, so Dan just asked, can we, expect or lean on the connectors to help us make those connections to industry partners? I'll speak kind of on behalf of New Lab. I think the short answer is yes. And if someone approached me kind of requesting this, the first thing that I would want to do is kind of better understand where you're coming from. What are you hoping to learn from those conversations? What are you most in need of? Is it this kind of customer discovery type work? Are you looking for a manufacturing partner who's going to help you commercialize your product? Are you looking for building up your customer pipeline? Like what is it that would be kind of most beneficial, and what stage of development are you at? And then we would certainly look across our network and help to facilitate the right introductions. But those are the kind of like intake questions, quote unquote, that we would ask so that we could be best helpful in that situation. Mary, I don't know or Diana, for that matter, if you have other experience or words of wisdom for that one.
No, I think that's about right, and that's part of why we're here today, is to help you kind of better understand, as was said earlier, what you know, what you don't know, and what you don't know, right? So this is part of kind of unpacking all of that. What are these different components and aspects to a holistic team that you may not have on board quite yet, right? So kind of help us help you. Tell us what you're looking for. And then our power connectors, ADL, New Lab, we've got Greentown Lab and Nation of Makers, all are here to help.
Awesome. All right, Mary, I'm going to read you out one more if we have
Okay.
from Eduardo.
All right.
He asks, are there any specific retrofit issues you are looking forward to seeing solutions for? I'm sure the energy impact will be part of the judging criteria, but is there a focus on residential versus commercial retrofits, for example?
Great question. We are absolutely targeting building envelopes. That's the technology, right? So what we talk about when we say envelope, we're talking about your attics, your walls, and any floorboards or basement kind of areas as well. That's what we're talking about. Now, in regards to the markets, we are looking at both residential and commercial buildings. We recognize that those could lead to, different solution types, or different, systems might be better targeted to one type or another type. That's fine. But anything that kind of would work for building, or excuse me, for residential and or commercial, and there are different segments that overlap, all of that is fair game. But we absolutely are looking at building envelopes and how to make the retrofit of envelopes better. That is my timer. I don't know if you all heard it. Anyway, Dustin, Diana, James, anything else you'd like to add on that?
Nope, thanks.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, I'll just say thank you to James, Diana, and Dustin. We appreciate all of your time today. And I'm going to hand it back to Shayna, and we are going to move into what we're all here for today.